Imagine discovering that the person you vowed to love forever harbored a secret so dark, so forbidden, it could shatter your world in an instant. What would you do if the love you trusted was no longer just yours? This isn't a story of simple betrayal. It's a tangled web of desire, guilt, and heartbreaking choices that will make your soul ache. In 2015, in the quiet suburbs of Chicago, a man's devotion would be tested in a way no one could ever anticipate. What he did next changed 3 lives forever. Disclaimer: this is a dramatic content for awareness and discussion only. John Harris, 38, a successful architect with a calm demeanor, had always been the epitome of a devoted husband. His wife, Melissa, 35, a warm-hearted elementary school teacher, had been the center of his world since their whirlwind romance in college. But life has a way of twisting the lines between love and temptation. Melissa's younger sister, Claire, 28, had always been close to the family. Too close, as it would later painfully become clear. Living under the same roof for summer visits, family gatherings, and countless shared dinners, the proximity of affection and familiarity would blur boundaries that should never have been crossed. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly. John would notice Claire laughing a little longer than usual at his jokes, the brush of her hand lingering as she passed him a plate during family dinners. At first, he dismissed it as harmless, a familial warmth, nothing more. But the late-night conversations on the porch, the shared glances when Melissa was in another room, began planting seeds of an attraction he never thought possible. One evening, in the summer of 2015, a storm raged outside the Harris residence. The house felt smaller, the air thicker, as John found himself alone with Claire in the dimly lit living room. Rain tapped against the windows like an urgent heartbeat, echoing the pulse in his chest. They spoke about trivial matters at first: work, college memories, shared family jokes, but the tension grew heavier with every passing minute. Then, in a fleeting moment, their eyes met, and the unspoken desire hung in the room like a thundercloud waiting to break. John recoiled mentally, slapping himself with reminders of morality, loyalty, and love. He had a wife who adored him, a life meticulously built over years, yet the temptation whispered persistently, dangerously, seductively. "This is wrong," he muttered under his breath. But Claire's subtle smiles and the way she leaned just slightly closer made him question if desire could ever truly be wrong when it felt so right in that instant. The next few weeks were a torturous dance of near encounters and stolen moments. A casual touch here, a lingering glance there. Each time he looked into Claire's eyes, John felt his own morals fray, the forbidden love intoxicating him like a drug he could not resist. Melissa remained blissfully unaware, planning a weekend getaway that would unknowingly provide the catalyst for what was about to unfold. Late one night, after Melissa had left for a work trip, Claire knocked on John's office door. The air between them was electric, charged with months of repressed emotion. They talked, laughter and memories flowing freely, until the conversation took a darker turn, one neither could deny nor easily retreat from. A confession of feelings, subtle, hesitant, trembling, spilled into the room. John's rational mind screamed, yet his heart betrayed him, responding with a pull toward her that felt unstoppable. "Why is this happening?" he whispered, pacing the hardwood floor, staring out at the rain-soaked garden. Claire, standing at the threshold, her own emotions tangled in confusion and desire, simply reached for his hand, a forbidden spark igniting that would forever alter the course of their lives. From that night onward, tension became the new normal in the Harris household. Every dinner, every family gathering became a battlefield of hidden emotions. John's guilt gnawed at him relentlessly, while Claire's subtle advances grew bolder, testing his resolve. The story of their connection, taboo and dangerous, was poised to erupt, threatening the very foundation of trust and loyalty that had held this family together. And then came the incident that would forever tip the scales. An accidental touch in the kitchen, a fleeting kiss in the hallway, nothing overt yet screaming volumes in the silence of the house. Each interaction brought an intoxicating mixture of thrill, fear, and sorrow, leaving John trapped in a web of his own desires. How could he reconcile this forbidden attraction with the love he still felt for Melissa? How far would he allow this secret passion to go before it destroyed everything? As the storm outside subsided, the storm within John's heart raged on. He knew that something had to give, yet he was powerless to stop the tide that swept him toward Claire. And just when he thought he could resist, a message arrived. One that would push him over the edge and force him to confront the ultimate choice of his life. What was in that message? Could John resist the pull of forbidden love? Or would he surrender to a desire that could ruin the family he cherished? How far can human hearts bend before they break completely? If this story has touched you so far, kindly comment, "Caught in the storm." Share this story with all those who need to hear it. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc, and follow for more chilling and forbidden romance stories on Torn Between Desire and Conscience. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell, because what happens next will shatter everything you thought you knew about loyalty, love, and betrayal. John stared at the message on his phone, the glow illuminating his tense face in the darkened office. It was Claire. Just one line, simple yet charged with electricity. "We need to talk. Alone." His pulse raced, every rational thought screaming at him to ignore it. But desire has a cunning way of drowning out reason. By the time he reached the living room, the rain had stopped, leaving the world washed in a quiet, almost eerie calm. Claire was already there, her eyes holding a mixture of fear and longing that mirrored his own inner turmoil. They spoke in whispers, voices barely audible over the ticking clock. The conversation was not new. It was the confession of a forbidden love neither could completely own nor deny. "John, I can't keep pretending anymore," Claire said, her fingers trembling slightly as they brushed his. He wanted to pull back, to retreat into the sanctuary of his vows, yet every fiber of him ached to lean closer, to close the distance that should never exist. The air around them seemed charged, every heartbeat echoing with unspoken questions. How far would they go? What lines could be crossed before there was no turning back? Over the next few weeks, their encounters became a dangerous game of proximity and avoidance. Each touch, each stolen glance, was both a thrill and a punishment. John's nights were restless, dreams haunted by the image of Claire, while days were filled with guilt and dread. Melissa remained unaware, planning her daily routines with the innocence of someone untouched by betrayal, while John's every thought circled dangerously around her sister. Then came the first irreversible step. One evening, the family was gathered for dinner, laughter and casual chatter filling the room. John excused himself under the pretense of checking an urgent work email. In the solitude of his study, Claire was waiting, a look of desperation in her eyes. The tension that had been simmering for months finally boiled over. Their lips met, brief at first, then with an intensity that left them both breathless. The kiss was a collision of forbidden longing and forbidden guilt, the kind of act that, once done, cannot be undone. The aftermath was a whirlwind of emotions. Ecstasy mingled with shame, desire tangled with terror. John questioned himself endlessly. How could he love his wife and feel this way? Was this passion proof of a hidden flaw in him, or merely an irresistible human temptation? Each moment with Claire left him more trapped, more addicted, and more desperate to find a way to reconcile what was happening with what should have been. But secrets, no matter how carefully guarded, have a way of revealing themselves. A misdirected text, a lingering gaze caught by Melissa, a door slightly ajar, all small fractures that threatened to explode into irreversible consequences. And as if fate were complicit, the very evening that John and Claire shared their forbidden intimacy, Melissa returned home early from her trip, humming unsuspectingly as she entered the house. The smell of rain, the faint scent of Claire's perfume lingering in the hallway, the unspoken tension. It all hung like a storm cloud waiting to break. Days turned into a tense balancing act. John and Claire lived in a world of subtle signals, coded words, and careful avoidance, yet every moment together carried the weight of inevitability. The deeper the passion, the stronger the guilt, and the more precarious their lives became. They both knew that one wrong move could unravel everything. One night, Claire whispered,
"We can't keep doing this, but I can't stop myself from wanting you."
Her confession was a dagger wrapped in silk, beautiful and deadly. John found himself at a crossroads, pulled between duty and desire, love and temptation. Could he suppress this forbidden love, or was it already too late? The emotional stakes had escalated beyond simple attraction. They were now entangled in a moral labyrinth where every choice carried devastating consequences. Each night, he lay awake, questioning himself. Was it love, lust, or something darker? How could he navigate this impossible maze without destroying everything he held dear? And then the first hint of exposure came. A phone call from an unknown number. A voice, calm yet ominous, simply said, "I know what's happening in your house." John's blood ran cold. Someone knew. Someone had been watching, waiting, listening. The fragile bubble of secrecy that had protected their dangerous liaison was cracking, and with it, the lives of all three would be pushed to the edge. How would John respond? Would he attempt to suppress the storm of desire, or would he surrender to it fully, knowing that the consequences could be catastrophic? Could any bond of love survive a secret so corrosive? The answers seemed impossibly far away, yet the next choice he made would determine not just his fate, but the fate of everyone he loved, and possibly destroy the very foundation of trust and family. If this story has gripped you so far, comment "Heart of Betrayal." Share this story with those who need to hear it. And subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc for more shocking and emotional tales in the Torn Between Desire and Conscience playlist. Turn on the notification bell, because the next twist will push the limits of loyalty, desire, and forbidden passion further than ever before. The phone call haunted John long after it ended. Every shadow in the house seemed suspect. Every creak of the floorboards a warning that someone was watching, someone was waiting. The secret he shared with Claire, once thrilling and intoxicating, now carried the weight of imminent exposure. And yet, the pull toward her had grown stronger, like a tide he could no longer resist. He knew that every stolen moment was a gamble, every touch a step closer to a line that, once crossed, could destroy everything. Claire seemed to sense the change in him. The fleeting smiles, the nervous laughter, the stolen glances, they all carried a new urgency. One night, under the dim glow of the hallway light, she whispered,
"John, I don't care about the risks anymore. I need you."
Her words, soft yet laden with raw emotion, ignited a dangerous spark. The house, which once felt safe, now seemed like a cage holding both desire and despair, threatening to crush them under the weight of their forbidden love. Days turned into nights, filled with secrecy and fear. John found himself drawn to Claire in ways he had never anticipated. His emotions, a storm of guilt, longing, and passion. He remembered Melissa's laughter, her gentle touch, the unwavering trust she placed in him. But the temptation was relentless. How could one choose between the comfort of love and the allure of forbidden desire? Every rational thought he had clashed violently with his heart, leaving him raw, exposed, and on the brink of emotional collapse. And then it happened. A neighbor, Mr. Donovan, had seen Claire lingering outside John's office one late evening. Innocent in appearance, but in reality, a dangerous prelude to exposure. The very next day, Melissa mentioned casually that Mr. Donovan had commented on Claire spending too much time around the house. John's heart pounded in his chest. Every step he took, every word he spoke, now carried the risk of unraveling the fragile world he had built. Despite the looming threat, Claire and John's moments grew bolder. One rainy afternoon, they found themselves alone in the attic, dusty, dim, forgotten by the rest of the house. The air was heavy, charged with months of suppressed desire. Words were unnecessary. The longing in their eyes spoke volumes. A kiss, tentative at first, then desperate, consumed them, igniting a fire they both knew could not be contained. The attic, once a storage space, became a sanctuary of forbidden passion, a dangerous haven where morality clashed violently with human desire. But passion has a way of inviting disaster. Just as their lips met for the second time, a sudden noise froze them in place. Melissa's car pulling into the driveway. Panic surged through them, hearts hammering in unison. They scrambled, breathless, to separate, to compose themselves. But in that fleeting moment, they had left traces, clothes slightly out of place, lingering scents, and hearts still racing. How much longer could they maintain the facade? How much longer before the inevitable collision of truth and desire would come crashing down? The next week was a torturous nightmare. Every family dinner, every casual conversation became a chess game. John's mind raced constantly. Would Melissa notice the small signs? Could Claire control her impulses long enough to protect them all? But the danger was growing, invisible yet threatening, and the emotional strain began to take its toll. Sleep became a luxury, every waking hour a battle between desire and conscience. The forbidden connection that once thrilled them now threatened to consume them completely. And then, a message arrived that changed everything. A photo, sent anonymously, showing John and Claire together in the attic. His stomach twisted in knots. Someone knew. Someone had proof. Every secret, every stolen kiss, every dangerous glance, exposed. The fragile world of love, trust, and family he had tried to protect was now hanging by a thread. The question loomed. Who had sent it, and what would they do with it? John stared at the photo, heart hammering, realizing that the next decision he made would not just affect his life, but could irreversibly shatter the family he loved, and possibly destroy the woman who had captivated him so dangerously. Could he confront Claire? Could he protect Melissa? Or was it already too late to turn back from the path of forbidden desire that had ensnared them all? If this story has gripped you so far, comment "Secrets Unveiled." Share this story with those who need to hear it, and subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc for more shocking and emotional tales in the Torn Between Desire and Conscience playlist. Turn on the notification bell, because what happens next will reveal the darkest, most heartbreaking consequences of forbidden love, and nothing will ever be the same. John's hands shook as he held the photo, the weight of betrayal and temptation pressing down on him like a physical force. The realization hit him harder than any storm outside ever could. Someone had discovered the forbidden secret, and the lives of everyone he loved teetered on the edge of ruin. Claire stood silently beside him, her eyes wide with fear and desire, knowing that this was the moment that could define or destroy them. Melissa returned home that evening, her presence serene and unsuspecting, carrying groceries with the light-hearted laughter John had once cherished. But the house felt different, tense, charged, suffused with unspoken danger. Every glance Melissa threw, every casual question she asked, pierced John with guilt. He wanted to confess, to tell her everything, but the fear of losing her, of losing the life they had built, chained his words. The following days were a tightrope walk of secrecy and tension. John and Claire continued to exchange stolen glances, subtle touches, and coded words, but now with the knowledge that exposure lurked around every corner. Every interaction with Melissa was layered with guilt. Every family moment a test of endurance. And then the first confrontation came, not from Melissa, but from an unexpected source, Mr. Donovan, the neighbor. "I saw her leaving your office late last week," Mr. Donovan said casually one afternoon while John was tending the garden, his words deliberate yet chilling in their implication. John's pulse raced, every rational thought fleeing. Could he deny it? Should he? The web of deceit was unraveling, and each passing second brought the risk of total collapse. Then came the ultimate confrontation. Melissa, having noticed subtle inconsistencies, Claire's perfume lingering too long, John's distant stares, the faint tension in the air, finally approached him one rainy evening. "John, what's happening between you and Claire?" she asked, her voice trembling yet composed, the heartbreak in her eyes sharper than any weapon. John's world shook. Every excuse, every rationalization fell silent in the weight of the truth. He confessed, words tumbling out in a torrent of guilt, shame, and raw emotion. Claire's presence was unavoidable, and the story of their forbidden love, secret touches, and stolen moments spilled into the room like a relentless flood. Melissa's eyes welled with tears, her hands trembling, the betrayal cutting deeper than John could have imagined. The room was thick with the silent screams of heartbreak, the air heavy with the remnants of trust broken. The aftermath was catastrophic, yet inevitable. Claire retreated, her own heart broken by the destruction they had wrought, leaving John to face the wreckage of his choices. Melissa, devastated yet dignified, demanded time, space, and answers she had been denied for months. John realized that passion had blinded him, that desire had led him down a path from which there was no easy return. Weeks passed, the tension gradually settling into a fragile, painful calm. The family dynamics were forever changed, trust fractured, hearts scarred, and the shadow of forbidden love lingering over every interaction. John, reflecting on his actions, understood the weight of temptation, the danger of unchecked desire, and the cost of secrecy. The experience left him wiser, more aware, and haunted by what could have been avoided, yet forever marked by the passion that once consumed him. In the quiet moments alone, John often pondered a question that would never leave him. Can human hearts truly resist desire when temptation is dressed in familiarity and longing? And if love can turn so dangerous, what lessons can one truly learn from heartbreak, betrayal, and forbidden passion? The answers remained elusive, echoing in the empty spaces of a home forever changed. If this story has moved you, comment "Shattered Bonds," share it with those who need to hear it, and subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc for more gripping, emotional, and shocking tales in the Torn Between Desire and Conscience playlist. Turn on the notification bell, because while this story concludes, the questions it raises about love, loyalty, and desire will linger long after the final word. This is Taboo Romance Stories TVc, forbidden romance stories told like never before.